Welcome back, everyone. So for today, we're going to do another Bad Ideas Good Times deck, another deck that I helped one of my local players build, a good friend of mine. This is Fresh Cut Grass Positive Reinforcement. This is a Critical Role character who is given out as a promo that actually smells like eucalyptus, smells like fresh cut grass. It actually works, it's a scratch and sniff, it is very strong as well. He is a good life and water character. We're focusing on the life symbol. He has 5 hand size and 39 health. He's got healer and Bell's Hells for his character traits. And for his 2 effects, we have an enhance, once per turn, complement a rival. That is our cost. We have to give our rival a compliment. And as they said in Las Vegas, if it is not something your parents would approve of, it doesn't count. But if we compliment our rival once per turn, we get to ready one of their foundations selectively. We get to choose. So we get to commit maybe a face down foundation, and then we get to ready 2 foundations of our own. We get to select those. We can maybe select some really good ones. And then as a response, we can commit Fresh Cut Grass. After a rival's unblocked attack resolves, add 1 action or spell card from our discard pile to our hand. And we'll see what kind of options we have for those later. But before we get into our attack lineup, let's talk about one of our foundations, Spreading the Word. This is the heart and soul of the deck. As an enhance, we can commit Spreading the Word, add a pamphlet counter to any card in our rival's stage. This attack gets +2 speed. So we can play it on our attack to give our attack 2 speed, or we can play it on our rival's attack. We'd give our rival's attack 2 speed, but we would gain another pamphlet counter in play. As a response, at the start of our combat phase, if our rival has 10 or more foundations with pamphlet counters on them, we win the game. So it's a fun alternate win condition. It puts our rival in kind of a tough spot, because if a face-up foundation has a pamphlet counter and that foundation is flipped, it keeps that counter. The only way to get rid of the pamphlet counters would be to destroy those foundations. So we're going to see how we can prevent our rival from doing this. The first card we have in our attack lineup is Risho's Meteor, a 4 difficulty, 2 control, 4 high for 5. As an enhance, we can flip 1 rival foundation, and our rival's next check to play a card gets -X, X being the difficulty of that flipped foundation. So we can flip maybe a 2 difficulty or a 3 difficulty foundation, or if our rival's playing something like Hood or Byakko, maybe a 5 difficulty foundation, and make this attack virtually unblockable, or at least the next check they make will be pretty hard to pass. Or we can flip one of our rival's Lock Breakers, a card that would allow them to destroy their own foundations, which would remove the pamphlet counters. So we can flip those cards before they're even able to use them. And that is a good way to push our rival to that 10 foundations, maybe 11, to force them to give us more targets for pamphlet counters. Of course, if our rival wants to sit at 9 face-down foundations and not really have anything to do, we have options to win that war of attrition as well. As another enhance here, if this attack is not blocked, our rival flips an additional 2 foundations. So this can flip up to 3 foundations in its own right, which is 1/3 of the way to that magic 9 number, which would make sure our rival can't do anything and we can just slowly whittle them down. Next up we have Dragon Strike. This is a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 5 mid for 5 with a +2 mid block. It's got EX2 and Powerful 2. So we can either spend our momentum to boost our speed with EX, or we can boost our damage with Powerful. Or, as a response, after we play this card, we get to flip 1 rival foundation, then seal Dragon Strike. A sealed card is treated as having no abilities for the whole turn, and this is playable as an attack, or if we play it as a block, we get to use this response to flip one of our rival's foundations selectively, again targeting a Lock Breaker, or maybe a very powerful foundation that they have. Next up we have Canister Creation Strike. This is a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 4 low for 5 with a +2 mid block. It has enhance, lose 2 health, remove 1 foundation from the game. Build 1 foundation with a printed difficulty of X from our discard pile. X equals the removed foundation's printed difficulty +1. So the great thing about this is we can remove any of these 1 difficulty foundations and build a Spreading the Word straight from our discard pile, since checking Spreading the Word is a major disadvantage to us. Canister Creation Strike lets us change a 1 difficulty foundation into Spreading the Word, and that is a great way to get ourselves online pretty quickly. And then we have Enhance, spend 1 momentum. This attack gets +1 damage for each face-up card with exactly 1 copy in our stage. So at the very minimum, it gets +1 damage because Fresh Cut Grass will be the only copy of Fresh Cut Grass in our stage. So if we had, say, 5 foundations that we only had 1 copy of, this would get 6 damage, making it a 4 low for 11, which is pretty solid. Next up, we have Double Overhead Hammer Fist. This is a muscular attack. A 4/3 with a 0 high for 5 and a +2 low block. It says, Enhance, your rival must flip 1 foundation as an additional cost to block this attack. This means if they have no face-up foundations to flip, your rival cannot block this attack. Therefore, we can win the war of attrition. If they want to just stay with all their foundations flipped, they stay at 8 or 9, they can't block Double Overhead Hammer Fist. If we can put any damage on it, it's just free damage that's going to go through. And then as an Enhance, we can spend a momentum. This attack is +X speed. X equals the damage of this attack -5. So if we increase the damage of the attack at all, we can also give it speed by spending a momentum. It also has a muscular enhance, but since we're not muscular, we are going to ignore that. Next, we have Creeping Vine Eruption. This is a 5/3, 2 low for 5 with a +3 high block. It is a throw. So a throw will always do at least half damage rounded up, even if it's completely blocked. Enhance, if this attack deals less than 5 damage, we get to add a copy of Faith's Shield from our discard pile to our hand. And that's a very useful defensive foundation we'll talk about in a minute. But with that and Jawjammer, a 4/3, 2 high for 4 with a +3 mid block, an additional throw, we can destroy 1 face down foundation. This attack gets +4 damage. So with our Double Overhead Hammer Fists and our Creeping Vine Eruptions, we can pretty much guarantee that if it comes down to a very grindy game where our rival has no face-up foundations, they won't go to 10 because they know we have Spreading the Word on the field. They're just going to play their attacks. They won't have really any enhances, so we can play all our defensive enhances. When we play our attacks, they won't really have any defensive enhances. So we can win that war of attrition and just grind the game out and possibly win an entire match only playing 1 game each round. So, again, not a great strategy, which is the bad idea, but good times if you can put your rival in this position and really force them to think really hard on what they want to do while complimenting them every turn at the same time. Because you can use his once per turn on both players' turns, both readying your foundations on offense and defense, which is really good for spreading the word so that you can commit it, and then on the very next attack, ready it with Fresh Cut Grass, commit it again, you get another pamphlet counter. Moving on to our assets, we have Airy, a 2/5 with a +3 low block. As an static, when it is in our stage at the start of our end phase, we get to ready 1 non-unique asset or foundation that was not readied during this turn's combat phase. So if we have not used Fresh Cut Grass to ready Spreading the Word, we can go into our rival's turn with Spreading the Word ready again. And then as a response, we can remove Airy and spend 1 momentum. Before the damage step of our rival's attack, we reduce that damage of that attack to our current health -1, so the attack that would kill us leaves us at 1. And then another very defensive asset, Idunbox, a 2/5 with a +2 low block. As an enhance, we can commit it, return this attack to its printed speed and damage, return it to its printed zone, and if it was unblockable, it is no longer unblockable. So cards like Armor of the Wolf, or any of these other big bomb attacks that really want to just go heavy and hit you with like 20 damage in one shot, Idunbox says, no, you don't get to do that. So moving on to our actions, these are cards that we're going to be able to pick up with Fresh Cut Grass anytime we take a direct hit. We have Wound Restore, a 3/4 with a +3 mid block, that says First Enhance, so the first enhance that we choose to do during any given enhance step. We remove Wound Restore, gain 5 health. Now we start at 39 health. That's already a lot. With 4 Wound Restores, that's an additional 20 health. That's 59 health that our rival has to cut through. That's pretty hard. Or Enhance Remove, if our attack deals damage, our rival loses 4 health. This can reduce them to 0. So if our rival is at their magical 9 face down foundations, and we play double overhead hammer fist or one of our throws, we can guarantee an additional 4 damage on any of those when any of those deals damage. And a great way to boost this would be to side in, if you have to go to a game 2, even more throw damage. More creeping vine eruptions, more jaw jammers, more the Deku one, overhead swing, or overhead toss, whatever it is, where he's throwing Shinzo around that can build a 0 from your discard pile. You don't need to build the 0, but it's just another throw that you can gain more damage with Wound Restore. And then lastly, we have Recovery Time. This is a 2/5 with a +1 mid-block, and Breaker 1, which means if we block with Recovery Time, our rival's next check gets -1. That's pretty good. Or, as a response, we can remove Recovery Time after we take 5 or more damage, gain 4 health. That is really, really strong, especially considering when we take 5 damage directly, commit Fresh Cut Grass to pick Recovery Time up, we can immediately play it to gain 4 health back. So that's really, really strong as a defensive action. Or response, after this attack card leaves your hand due to a rival effect, we get to draw 2 cards. So if our rival's messing with our hand with like Bakugo 4, Botan, any of those things, we can just draw 2 extra cards. And then, when we take a direct hit, pick Recovery Time up anyway, and really show our rival what for. Moving into our foundations, we've already gone over Spreading the Word. This is our win condition, and it can help push some damage through if need be. We have Refreshing Blend. We get to spend 1 momentum to gain 2 health. We want to survive as long as we can. We don't want our rival to kill us before we get our Spreading the Word counters. Or, we can spend a momentum to ready 1 foundation that has not been readied this combat phase. So we can commit Spreading the Word, spend a momentum to ready Spreading the Word, commit Spreading the Word again, then Fresh Cut Grass to ready Spreading the Word, then commit Spreading the Word again. And then on our rival's turn, Fresh Cut Grass ready Spreading the Word again, and we just keep laying out all of those pamphlet counters as quickly as possible. And then we have Faith Shield. This is the card that can be picked up with Creeping Vine Eruption. A 2/4 with a +3 mid-block. It says, response remove. After you block with this card, the attack deals no damage. Flip that attack after it resolves. So that means before it would deal any damage, that attack deals no damage, even if it's a throw. Even if it would guarantee at least 1 damage, it deals no damage. Plus, it flips the attack, so characters like Younger Toguro, who could build a card after it resolves, would not be able to build that attack because it is no longer considered an attack. And it messes with combos, because the combo card looks to the exact card behind it and checks for printed values. You know, printed tech, printed for difficulty, whatever it is. So if the card is face down, it can't do that. So very powerful defensive card here. And as an enhance, for some reason if you had to build this card, you can destroy it to give a charge or stun attack -2 damage. Again, we want to live as long as possible. Next we have Shameless Haggler, a 2/5 with a +2 low block. We can flip Shameless Haggler and discard 1 card, draw 1 card, and gain 2 health. We want to draw into our Spreading the Words. We want to survive. Our rival may then draw 1 card and gain 2 health, and if they do, we draw an additional card and gain 2 health. So we can draw 2 cards and gain 4 health for letting our rival draw 1 and gain 2. Usually, if your rival sees that you're just trying to survive, they're not going to give you the additional draw 1 and gain 2, but cycling a card and gaining 2 health is still a pretty good rate. Next we have Immortal Shapeshifter, a 2/5 with a +3 high block. As a response, we can check a 5, so making a check of 5, kind of like milling. After 1 or more of our foundations is destroyed, gain 1 health. We want to gain health, we want to survive. And we can destroy 1 foundation as an enhance to give this attack +1 damage. So putting more damage on our throws, and then if we check a 5, we get to gain another health. Awesome way to keep up some damage output and keep ourselves alive. We have Urameshi's Perseverance, a 2/5 with a +4 mid-block. As a form, we can remove it from the game and spend 1 momentum. Add any card in our discard pile to our hand. We get Spreading the Word if we've checked it, or if it was destroyed. We can pick up Canister Creation Strike. We can pick up Risho Meteor. We can pick up any of our throws if we need to do more damage. It's just a powerful 1 fetch card to guarantee anything we need in our hand. We have Keiko's Aid, a very powerful defensive foundation, 2/5 with a +3 high block. As a response, we can flip it. After we block an attack, our rival's next attack gets +2 difficulty. We want to make it as hard for our rival to kill us as possible. So making sure that they struggle to pass their checks is one great way to do that. Next we have Syndicate Target, a 0/6 with a +0 mid-block. After we play this card as a block, we lose 1 health, but it's a very strong defensive piece. It's a 6 check, it's a 0 low block, so it's really going to help us against cards like Walk the Dog, or Canister Creation Strike, or Black Abyss, heaven forbid. Same thing with number 10 Pro Hero. It's a 0/6 with a +1 high block. It's just here to be a 6 check and a block if we need them. We have Heroic Assistance at 2/5 with a +2 high block. As a response, we can flip it. After one or more of our foundations is committed due to a rival effect, we get to ready 2 foundations that have not been readied this combat phase. So if our rival hits us with a stun, and we have Spreading the Words that we have not readied, we get to ready those Spreading the Words and put up more pamphlet counters. Or we can ready some of our more defensive pieces. And then as a deadlock in hands, we can flip it, look at our rival's hand, and then change the zone of our attack to maybe a block zone they don't have. Next we have Blood Evaluation, a 3/5 with a +2 high block. As a response, once per turn after this foundation is ready due to an effect, we get to draw a card. So if we ready it with Heroic Assistance, if we ready it with Fresh Cut Grass, we get to draw an additional card. That's pretty strong, especially on defense when we're trying to draw more blocks. And as an enhance, we can spend 1 momentum, ready this foundation, or selectively flip 1 rival momentum, and this is a tenacious ability. It's playable while the card is committed. So we can spend a momentum to ready it, to use that once per turn draw a card, or we can spend 1 momentum to flip our rival's Black Abyss in their momentum, to flip their Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken in their momentum. Really mess with cards like that, because not a lot of... I don't think there's any cards that prevent your rival from flipping your momentum. You can prevent cards from being discarded from your momentum, but not flipped while they're in your momentum. So this is a great way around some of those momentum hoarding decks. Really strong. Next we have Steadfast Resolve. This is a way to keep ourselves out of deadlock. It's a 1/5 with a 3 low block. As a response, destroy 1 foundation. After an attack is played, it gets +1 or -1 damage. So this can give our throws more damage, or it can give our rival's attacks minus damage to try to keep us alive a little bit longer. We have Full On Attack Mode. As an enhance, it's a 1/5 with a +2 high block. As an enhance, we can destroy 1 foundation. If our attack deals damage, we get to gain a health, and our rival loses 1 health. This is another way that our rival can lose health and lose below 1 health, because this doesn't say this cannot reduce your rival below 1 health. So this plus Wound Restore on a throw is an extra 5 unblockable damage. That can be really nasty and can really stack up if we have to play that War of Attrition. We've got a fun size specialist here. It's a 1/5 with a +3 mid-block. As a response, we have to add this card to our hand. That is our cost. After we block with a foundation that is not named size specialist, we get to build that foundation. So if we block with a Keiko's Aid, we can pick up size specialist to build that Keiko's Aid, and then flip it to force our rival to have +2 to their next attack's difficulty. It's just a cheeky little 1 diff that we can use as a target for Canister Creation Strike, or to help reduce our progressive difficulty on defense, which also adds another 3 mid-block to our hand. Not great, but if absolute necessary, we can build a very powerful defensive piece and have a card to block within our hand if we need it. We have Adaptable Anatomy, a 1/5 with a +2 mid-block. It says, response, after you completely block this attack, it deals no damage. This is our main way around throw attacks, because we do want to have a kind of a grindy late-game War of Attrition. We don't want to get out-throwed. So we want to be able to completely block our rivals' throws and have them deal no damage because of our Adaptable Anatomy. We have Resting Up, a 1/5 with a 3 low block. As an enhance, we can commit it. This attack gets -2 speed. If our character is committed, it gets -3 speed instead. So if we've picked up an action with Fresh Cut Grass this turn, we can give an attack -3 speed to then maybe block with Recovery Time and Breaker 1 if need be, if we didn't want to remove it and gain the 4 health. If we wanted to block with it, Breaker, and then pick it up on our rival's next turn when they deal another attack. We have Genkai's Training. This is a 1/5 with no block, so you cannot block with this card. As an enhance, we commit Genkai's Training. If we try to block this attack with a card that shares at least 2 symbols with our character, our block modifier becomes 0. So we are good, life, and water. So cards like Faith Shield become +0 mid-block. Cards like Size Specialist become +0 mid-block. Steadfast Resolve becomes a +3 or +0 low block. So it's a really powerful way to turn some of our bad blocks into good blocks, especially when our rival might not see it coming, something like the Size Specialist. And then as a Tenacious Enhance, we can spend 1 momentum to ready this foundation. So again, readying our stage defensively to either make another block 0 or to pass the check to play a block. And finally, we have Experimenting on Quirks, a 1/5 with a +3 high block. As an enhance, we can commit it if we have 3 or more face-down foundations. Our attack gets +2 speed. That's fine. Or as our first enhance, we can lose 1 health. If this attack deals no damage, we gain 2 health. So on our rival's turn, they play an attack. Let's say they play a high block, and we know we can block it with our number 10 pro hero. We lose a health. And then when we completely block the attack and it deals no damage, we gain 2 health. So we basically net +1 health, but it's another good way to keep our health total up so our rival can't kill us before we can either win with spreading the word or throw them to death with our throws, with double overhead hammer fist, and stuff like that. And that is our Fresh Cut Grass Bad Ideas Good Times deck. It's really just meant here to be annoying, to be upliftingly positive, just sickeningly so, while you're playing this grind out game and kind of make your rival wish they hadn't sitting across from you. My friend Jared took this to Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Regional. His entire goal for the whole tournament was to go 0 wins, 0 losses, 7 draws. And I told him, had he said this up front at the beginning of every match, his rivals would go with him on it, especially because they'd probably rather take a draw than a loss. And his whole side deck was nothing but throws and extremely damaging burn moves. So he would be able to grind game 1 out, and even if he lost, side in all of his throws, and then game 2 just throw his opponent to death. You're going to tie anyway. So would you rather guarantee a tie or risk a tie? He did not succeed in going 007 because he wanted to be Robot 007. But he said he had a good time anyway, even though we kind of dropped from the tournament halfway through because neither of us were doing well, and we decided to enjoy the convention. But it made me want to look more at Fresh Cut Grass and see if I could tweak the deck, especially with Girl Power and Godzilla coming out. The main issue is you're really hampered on what spells you can play. You can really only play life spells with the Jester cards and, what is his name? Jester and Vexalia? The Lady Twin Elf. She has some life spells. So mainly you're really just dealing with actions. And he did have a couple of spells in his deck that were either a +1 high or a +1 low block that he could just pick up as need be for block zones. But I decided to go with the Canister Creation Strike and the double overhead hammer fist to try to push through that War of Attrition style gameplay. And that is going to be Fresh Cut Grass. If you like the deck, please like the video. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. I could use all the help I can get. And I will see, please comment down what you think of the deck, and if you think we're going to get maybe a full Critical Role set sometime in the near future, either for Bell's Hells, or Mighty Nine, or the Vox Machina. That's it, the first one. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.